often talk about how grief changes them, how they come out of the experience different people. And we know about all the difficult things about grief, all the hard things, how it challenges us. But is there anything positive we can say about having gone through a period of grieving? Julia, could you start with this, please?
I mean, I think that there is and there can be. I think it starts with the paradox of grief, which I talk about in my book, is that it's by allowing yourselves to feel the pain, getting support in the pain, that then allows you to accommodate and face the reality of what you never wanted to happen. So through that adaptation process, you do become a different person, both in relation to the person that's died, but also in relation to who you are, what you believe in, what you mind about, your perception of life. And there's been quite a lot of research looking at post-traumatic growth, which never denies the level of the loss or the pain, but people who have found that they have grown through very traumatic, complex losses have found things like their perception of what matters, that it's people that matter to them, changes. Their perception that they are much stronger and more resilient and robust than they ever imagined, that now that they survived this death, they feel able to face many more storms in life. But also the storms that they minded about in the past don't even look like storms, they look like puddles now. So that they feel, it never stops them feeling pain at times, but they feel kind of more robust because they've survived something that they thought would shrink them and break them, and they haven't been broken at all. They've expanded, in fact.
That's lovely. Shelby, I also know that you talk about grief growers on your podcast, and one of your lines is, "Even in grief, we are growing." And so I wonder if you want to share some of your thoughts about this as well.
I'm going to piggyback right on Julia's commentary on expansion, because I think that's exactly what's happening in grief. I have this image sometimes of the great timeline of our lives. We're born and then we die. But as between that time, we are constantly expanding what it means to be human, both the wisdom that we accumulate from outside sources, but also what we learn to know about ourselves, and the depth of emotion we can feel and the breadth of the relationships that we can have. And so as we are progressing along in life, we're also learning more about what it means to just be alive. And I think so many grieving people, myself included, make a mistake when they come into life after loss, because their goal is, I need to be better from this, I need to grow from this, I need to learn from this, which just turns the whole grief experience into a homework assignment. And that's a lot of pressure. And again, we're talking about breaking out of these black and white boxes. Grief is not a pass or fail experience. And so when I use this tagline of, because even through grief we are growing, already, even if you are not trying to grow through grief, there is growth happening, because each additional day that you're living life after loss, it's a different day. Even if in COVID-19 you're repeating the same tasks and the same things over and over, you will never think the same day twice. You will never feel the same day twice. And so to look back a week ago, a month ago, 6 months ago, and say, wow, I have accumulated this much information. It may not feel good. It may be information learned through pain, but you are learning more about yourself and what you can tolerate and what you can survive. And also the things in yourself that you can learn to have more faith in and more trust in the future. Something I speak about with clients, I'm like, look over the course of your life, the past 10 years, 20 years, even 30 years prior to this, have you always had food on the table? Have you always had a roof over your head, even in the tumult of everything you have lived in your life? And there's this wild, beautiful reassurance that comes of like, wow, the one consistency has been me. I'm the common denominator in this experience. Somehow I've managed to not only survive, but caretake for myself, and sometimes in larger ways caretake for others, like children or parents. And it's really beautiful. Growth is already happening. You do not have to force it into existence.
That's lovely. Andy, do you want to add anything or pick anything up from that?
I think often growth comes through adversity, doesn't it? I always want to say that lightly, but growth often comes through difficulty. And I think the other thing I'd just sort of practically say at Cruise, we've got lots of people who volunteer for us, right? They provide. I mean, I just take this opportunity to flagrantly say I think they're wonderful. They give their time and energy. In Cruise, other organisations, people volunteer to reach out to bereaved folk, and I think that's wonderful. And many of those people who are volunteering are doing that partly or fully because they've been bereaved themselves, because they felt some pain that has then thought, amongst other things, I want to do something for someone else. I think that's profound. It moves me, brings tears to my eyes now. That actually, if we felt pain, we can be moved to then help someone else.
Yeah.
And that helps me a bit too. To be blunt, if you're kind to someone, it helps you, doesn't it? And I think that on a very basic human level, it won't heal everything, but it's around connection again, and it makes me feel good if I've helped someone. So I think there's a lot to be said for that. Actually, I might be experiencing some pain myself, but also it moves me to do something, which is important as well.
So it kind of increases resilience and compassion, and changes the way we see ourselves in the world, and kind of expands the world that we see, really.